What's going on, guys? Welcome to another Doctor Who classic review. Today we're going to be reviewing the 4th Doctor Tom Baker story, The Invisible Enemy. This is another one like the previous one, The Macra Terror, where I watched it a little while ago, so may not be the best with notes and stuff on this one. So let's just get straight into it. First of all, with the cast, Tom Baker, pretty good in this one, nothing to really complain about. Season 15? Season 15, is it, this one? Can't quite remember. Yeah, I think it's season 15. Or it might be 14. I honestly cannot remember. It's good. It's a good episode. It's good from Tom Baker. It's just all good. Not amazing, but pretty good. Tom Baker does a good performance. Louise Jameson as Leela as well is pretty good in this one too. One of the earlier stories, but not super early. Yeah, pretty good from Louise Jameson. And of course you've got K9 as well, so I can't remember who voices K9, but yeah, pretty good here as well. First appearance of K9, and that is my first point, that this is K9's introduction story. So yeah, this was, considering this episode isn't really talked about a whole lot, I don't feel. Apart from the part that it is K9's first episode, it's not one of those episodes that really gets talked about. It's not one that I'd really heard much about at all, good or bad. And yeah, so I didn't really, that's kind of why I hadn't watched this one until this quite late on point because of that. But I did want to give it a watch just because it is only a 4-parter and it is the introduction of K9. So yeah, pretty good stuff. I like his introduction. This professor's built this robot to basically, because he had a dog, not a robot dog, an actual dog, on, I don't know if it was Earth or wherever it was, and that dog, I guess, died, doesn't have it anymore, so he built a robot dog to become his companion. So yeah, I like the story, I like the introduction to him and everything, and yeah, it's pretty interesting. The Doctor gets infected with the virus. So the main premise of this episode is that there's this virus going through this, is it a space station? I think it might be a spaceship or something like that. I can't 100% remember. And yeah, it's basically going around infecting people, and then the people are then either infecting other people or killing them. And the Doctor gets infected with this virus, and yeah, goes a bit crazy for the first episode. So it's always interesting to see the Doctor, getting a virus or having something rather bad happen to him, especially at the start of a story. So that was pretty cool to see. It's also interesting that Leela is immune to the virus as it thrives on intellectual activity, and she, being very primitive, doesn't have the intellect to be infected. So basically, she's not smart enough to be infected by this virus, which is a little bit kind of like, oh, okay, that's maybe a bit, I guess that's just a thing. But yeah, I didn't mind it as a concept. I thought that's fine. Yeah, don't really much else to say about it, really. It does come into hand how it does work with the story later on, I guess. So I guess it was there for that reason. The Doctor and Leela are cloned and shrunk down in size and go into the Doctor's body to try and destroy the virus. So the Doctor gets this virus. He decides that he should clone himself and Leela, go into his own body at like a micro size and try and get rid of this virus. And yeah, it's a very interesting scene. The green scene effects of inside the Doctor actually don't look that bad, to be honest, considering, the 70s and everything. I thought the green screen effects were decent. I mean, they wouldn't hold up nowadays, but for this time period, and considering some other effects from this sort of time period and even later, it's really not that bad. So yeah, kudos to them on that regard. The virus escapes from the Doctor's body and becomes human-sized, now called the nucleus. I think it was called the nucleus before, but I was just kind of calling it the virus. But when we get this physical embodiment of the virus, we're going to call it, they call it the nucleus, so that's what we'll refer to it from now on. And I will be honest, it looks pretty awful. Although the green screen kind of CGI work, it's not really, is it CSO, I think they called it, or blue screen or something like that, I don't know. Green screen effects, blue screen, whatever. They look pretty good, but the model, well, not model, the suit, it's just a man in a rubbery suit. Not a rubbery suit, but a pretty terrible suit. The Nucleus does not look good. It kind of flaps its arms around a bit. I think it has like antennas that flap around. It doesn't have like moving eyes or a mouth. It doesn't sound great from what I remember either. It's just a bit crap. And you know, the thing, this is called the invisible enemy because, you know, this is a virus. It's not something that you can physically see. Apart from when people get infected, they look a bit strange, and that is another point actually. The aesthetic of the infected people I don't really like, and the general premise is a bit boring and overused of the plot, you know, just kind of a virus that infects people and it kind of ends up killing people off. It's a pretty boring, overused kind of, you know, premise there. And yeah, just the whole thing about the invisible enemy when it ends up not actually being invisible is, and I mean, I think I've seen memes of literally like the visible enemy, because now comes to like part 4, I think it's literally the last part, and we can now properly see the enemy. And I mean, technically we could see it before, because when it infects people, they look different, they look infected, so I don't know. But yeah, I don't love the aesthetic of that. So, you know, they've kind of just got like, it's almost just like a shit ton of glitter over their eyes, like silvery glitter. It doesn't look great, I'm gonna be honest. Leela's clone left antibodies in the Doctor, which he uses to cure everyone of the virus. So basically the clones only have a certain amount of time that they can be alive for, and they end up kind of dying, disappearing inside the Doctor's body. And that, because Leela's got antibodies against this, you know, she can't be infected by this virus. Her clone dying in the Doctor leaves antibodies behind, so then the Doctor, I think he takes some of his blood and can now use that as an antibody against the virus for other people. I think some of the people that are like really badly affected by the virus, they can't use the cure on it, on them, because they're kind of too far along. But yeah, I don't mind that whole thing as a kind of, you know, an end to it, as a cure. Little bit, you know, it's a little bit not cliche, what's the word I'm thinking of, a little bit just useful, you know. It's just like, oh, okay, it's just good job she's there, and good job she went inside the Doctor's body and died and then made the antibody. And it's a little bit, yeah, a little bit like, okay, well, it's a good job they were there. But I guess that's just kind of what Doctor Who's about without the Doctor there. These situations probably wouldn't end up quite as well as they do. And then finally, just, it's an enjoyable episode, but nothing really stands out. Like I said, it's fine. It's 4 parts long. You've got the introduction to K9. The Professor is a pretty likable character as well. I like the Doctor getting infected. I don't mind Leela being immune and that being the general gist of the wrap-up of the story. But ultimately, I don't like the look of the Nucleus, the virus. I don't like the look of, you know, the infected people either. And just generally, it's one of those episodes where it's like, it's fine. There's nothing terribly wrong with it. It's a bit slow in places. It's just not the most interesting, and because of that, I'm going to give The Invisible Enemy a 7 out of 10. It's kind of an average score. A 7 out of 10 is pretty much an average score for me. It's just kind of like, yeah, it's good, but it's nothing special. Yeah, that's it really. That's really, it sums it up pretty well. It's good, but it's nothing special. You can enjoy it, you can sit it on, you don't have to pay too much attention. It's only 4 parts long, and it's fine. It's fine as an episode. So a 7 out of 10 for The Invisible Enemy. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.